When installing a directional ball joint, it's important to use the correct orientation. On this Mevitech TTX ball joint, we can see that the elliptical opening allows for greater swing in one direction. Directional ball joints will have an indexing mark on the housing to indicate the swing angles. This particular TTX ball joint has a flat on the side of the housing as its index mark. This identifies the major swing angle. You can see how it's able to swing much further in one particular direction compared to the other. Directional index marks may appear in many different forms. Before pressing out the old ball joint, it's important to take a minute to look for them. On this control arm, for example, there are two notched index marks on the ball joint, which are aligned to the index mark on the control arm body. On these control arms, we can observe that there are two index marks, a small mark on the ball joint flange, and a punch mark on the control arm body. Here's another variation. Notice that this control arm uses flats on either side of the ball joint housing to indicate the major swing angle. The important thing to note here is that these ball joint types predominantly swing in one direction and must be installed so that the swing is perpendicular to the vehicle. In other words, the swing is inboard to outboard. Let's move on to how to install a directional ball joint. After pressing out the old ball joint, be sure to thoroughly clean the control arm bore by removing any rust, contaminants, and burrs. Also inspect the control arm body for any deformation or cracks and to ensure the press-in diameter is within specifications. Next, we're going to mark a reference point on the ball joint flange by using a grease pencil. In this case, the control arm body has a pre-existing index mark. We're going to transpose the mark from the top to the bottom to help keep everything aligned during press-in. Before pressing in the new ball joint, a quick double check will help to ensure a perfect install. We can see that the reference mark on the ball joint flange matches the reference mark on the control arm body when we have everything stacked up. We can start to press the ball joint in. The ball joint is now pressed in evenly, and our reference marks are aligned. Now is a good time to install the supplied grease fitting. Lastly, some ball joints require the circlip to be secured after press-in. Using the appropriate circlip pliers, place the circlip over the dust boot and into the machined housing groove, ensuring it's fully seated.